You never know what you'll find in the universe of my mind. So I'm sitting here doing some Smuling. Smule is a karaoke app on my phone, and it's fun, and I love it. But anyway, I happened to look out the window, and I see a show up. So here he is, right there. He or she, not sure, but right here. I'll try to show you how it goes from this to a finished critter. So I actually see quite a few of them out there. So here's one right here with his back to us. This one is kind of Alf-like. I see more, but hard to get them on camera because here's one similar to the first one. So here's what I usually do. Now let's see if I can do this. So I'll spot them and I will do a quick sketch of them on scrap paper. I rarely take their photo, sometimes I do. Because most of the time when I see them, I'm somewhere where I don't have easy access to my camera, and then I risk losing sight of them if I go get my camera. So I like to do a quick, what I call a capture. Just a quick sketch. And sometimes it takes more than one try to get it. So must be sitting on something. Okay, so that's the first one I saw. And then I saw this one. And like sometimes if I see them all in a bunch like this, sometimes I'll try to make a scene with most of them in it. Or they'll each get their own page. Sometimes they're quite easy to capture and quite quick. And like this is mostly just my guide. So I take liberties when I actually want to come and do them in my art journal. The Alf-like one probably will be a little bit tricky. Probably won't be one of the easy ones. And sometimes I make myself notes if I see specific colors or specific details or something. And if I do like a if I do like a little X, that means that line shouldn't be there. I'm going to try this one again. Okay, so There we go, that's better. Okay, and then he's got, it's only his face that is elf-like, and now that I've drawn him, he doesn't really look elf-like anymore, but anyway. I think in this case maybe I will take a bunch of pictures, cause okay, and then he's got a really big paw hand thing. A little belly. Okay, so that's that one. And then there's another little one, probably fit up here. So, as you can see, sometimes it takes a while. He's got a little bit of a tail back there. And you don't see his other arm except for a little bit over there. Okay. Oh! Okay, that one's adorable. Hold on, there's... Okay, there's one here too. Okay, so the one that made me giggle he's almost like a gnome or a sheep or something. Pig nose. Okay, and then this one looks kind of comfy and snoozy. Gonna give him a big thingy to be laying on. Maybe he's a little bit sloth-like, but these are all friendly alien critters. Okay, and then he's inside another of those things that he's laying on. Just so I kind of messed this up a little bit, but I think if I create it soon enough, then I'll remember. And I did take a picture, so yeah, sometimes I will use a combination of my capture and a photo. So, okay, was there another one I wanted to? I mean, there are lots and lots and lots of them, but I think, yeah, there are so many. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. But I think this will do for now. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them I think is good for this round. So then, after I've captured them, I will write the date and where I saw them. So today is Friday, March 10th? Yes. 10th, 2023. Okay, let's try this angle today. I have to be careful not to knock over the tripod. I started this video on March 10th, and I'm finally getting around to working on it some more today, which is March 21st, and that often happens with these show-ups. I will take the picture or do the capture, and then I just put it aside, and sometimes I never get back to it at all, and sometimes I do come back to it and do something with it. Okay, so this, I think I'm going to start with this one because he's the simplest and fastest. But I think I might combine this one and this one. Now, in a case like this, when I have the photo and the capture, I will sometimes use both for reference. I know I said I was going to start with the little one, but for placement and such, I think I better start with this bigger one. So what I want to do here, and I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to go about doing this but this video, because I don't really want it to be super long, but it's going to have to be if I show you the whole process. Even sped up, it still ends up being at least a half hour, if not longer, when I do process videos like this. So like I said, I haven't decided what I'm going to do about that. So this is the one that when I saw him, he kind of reminded me of Alf a little bit, especially in his head. Okay, so then he's got like really big paws. I'm glad I took the photo too, because the photo is easier to use as my reference. But sometimes, most of the time actually, when I spot a show up, I don't have a camera readily available, so I don't always get a photo, is what I'm trying to say. So he's kind of squarish, but I think I'm gonna use my artistic license and kind of round it off a little bit. And I think I'm going to change the position of this hand and arm. See, here I had it, I don't know if I'm in frame, but here I had the arms on the sides, but now I'm going to do it like that, and this one needs to be longer. There. Okay, so that okay, looks like that's the drawing for this one. That was faster than I expected it to be, because this is one of the more complicated ones that I saw that day. Okay, and then the other one. Okay, so in this case, I think the drawing is going to be easier than the reference to. The drawing versus the photo is probably going to be easier in this case, is what I'm trying to say. And do I want him overlapping this guy? No, I think I will put him here, because he looks like he's looking at something up there. And that's great in a composition like this. Okay, and then his other arm is a little bit over there. Adjust the foot a little bit. Give him an eyeball. And I think maybe, yeah, I think that's it, and I'm ready to do some coloring. That was a lot faster than I expected. I'm going to start with the nose just because I think I know what color I want it to be. I want it to be this lavender color. And deciding how far to go with that. That's probably good, and I'm going to do the inside of the ears as well. I think his nose is going to be this kind of pink. Now, I usually will focus on one critter at a time, but just because I'm going to do his nose right now, just because. And I'll come back to him after, but so I'll put his colors up here. Don't know if you can see that. Okay, now I'm going to use mulberry as a shading for that nose that I just did on him. Can you actually see what I'm doing? Let's see how that works out. And a little bit in the ear as well to darken it up. I'm going to use powder blue for most of him, I think. And he is furry, but because of the nature of this pencil, I'm going to not do the fur texture yet, because I'm going to use like a shading color type of thing for the texture part. So I'm going to sort of do the texture, but not really. So he's, and I think I want his belly to have some of his nose color, but very, very lightly, to kind of blend in and help separate his parts a little bit. So I'm kind of doing the texture thing with this powder blue, but I'll really do it when I use a different blue to do shading and such. So this is kind of like the foundation layer, I guess. Because he was made of snow and hedge green leafy stuff, his color palette wasn't really given to me, so that's actually, I kind of prefer it when I can choose whatever color I want, unless I'm doing a fun challenge or exercise like I did in the last videos. So I'm going to use blue slate for the darker color and to do the texture. So for the furry texture, all I do is just, basically I'm scribbling. I'm just flop, 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 flop. So, I mean, it takes a while to cover an area like that, but it's worth it because it really makes a difference, in my opinion. Okay, so because I don't want the video to be like really long, I'm going to just finish this off camera. I'm just going to do the same thing until he's covered, and I'll be back. Okay, now I'm going to use Periwinkle just for even more shading, like just in the areas that need to be darker. And I'm going over the nose part a little bit too, just for some extra depth and such. But yeah, I'm just the areas that need more definition and depth and such. So I guess this is actual shading. Before that was mostly just to bring out the furry texture. So as you can see, I'm not covering all of him with this, just the darker areas. And I want to kind of extend the furry bits on the ends. Just a little bit, because it adds to the adorable factors. Shade over here a little bit, because the nose would do that. The belly, I want to kind of blend the colors and do a bit more of the, well, yeah, I guess I'm just blending because, and this is a colorless blender that I'm using. You could do this with white if you don't have the colorless blender. But if you do it with white, be aware that it will change the color just a little bit. And now I'm going to reinforce a little bit of the shading. Okay, and now this is crazy, and I don't know why I want to do it, but I want to, and I'm going to use Poppy Red for this hair on top. Okay, and then I think I'm going to use Crimson Red and just a tiny bit of Tuscan red for the dark areas. So in this case, it's hair, which is slightly different than fur, so I'm making more of lines rather than the floofy, rather than the scribblies. And this hair part is mainly what makes him look like Alf. Well, his whole head actually, but okay. And then I'm using the darker Tuscan red to add some depth and shading. Okay, I think that's good for that. I'm going to use a regular pencil for some extra I don't know if this is really shading exactly. I guess it kinda is. But for just in a few areas where it needs to be defined even more. I like doing that. It's something I've started doing. I guess it's been a few years now, but I started doing it and I just do it a lot now. Especially for areas that really need to be separated from other parts that are the same colors and or blend into each other and stuff, to help separate them from each other. And I like using that for like where the claws would be, if they have claws. Mostly, if my friendly alien critters have claws, they mostly use them just to help them with their food, and their food is they are herbivores and such. In some cases, they don't even eat plants. They eat like rocks and crystals and things like that. But a lot of them do eat plant things. Anyway, okay, I think that about does it for that. Maybe just a little bit more right here, and maybe a little bit more of this to blend it. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I go back and forth between the regular pencil and the shading colored pencil. Okay, I think I'm happy enough with that. And then give him some eyes, which in this case I think are just black beads. The final touch, bring him to life with some catch lights. I will take a picture so that you can see him better. So that's him. And this guy is, so his nose color is, the pencil doesn't have a color name on it, and it's a Staples. I found this in the yard and washed it and then brought it in my studio room, and I've been using it ever since I found it, and I like it. Anyway, okay, and then this one is a Prismacolor, and it's henna, and it's one of my favorite ones. It's one of the ones that I use it a lot when I'm drawing faces and such. It's one of the ones that I use up fast and have to replace a lot. So yeah, I just shaded his nose. This is Spanish orange, which is yellow to me. So yeah, I think I'm gonna make the decision, and well, it's too late now. If I change my mind, I can't do it unless I redraw him. But I think I'm happy with that. So I'm doing this color lightly as the base, and then I'm going to do the fur texture thing, pressing harder. And because it's longer fur on this guy, I'm still doing like a scribbly thing, but the scribbles are a little bit wilder and longer. I don't really know how else to describe it, and I'm not sure how well you can see what I'm doing, so but anyway, so it's kind of like a combination of hair and fur texture. So scribbles with longer strokes and some lines as well. Yellow ochre is also, as you can see, one of the ones I use up quickly. Well, I thought it might be perfect, but can't really see. I think it'll be good in the long furry bits, but I think I'm gonna need to find the darker shading bit. So I'm doing, it's almost a figure eight. Maybe it's just a squiggly to make it look like he's got longer fur. His foot's going to be this color too. But not furry. Or if it's furry, it's more like the velvety type of fur, so it doesn't get the squiggly because it's very short fur. So this is light umber. And that works for the shading of his foot too, because the color is similar. Yeah, that's better. I'll do a few lightly in the furry part too. Darker where I want it to be shaded. Around the eye a little bit. Okay, I think all that's left is the eye, and I think I want him to have an orange eyeball, or I mean an orange, whoops, and use a regular pen for the pupil, and maybe go around the eye a little bit like that, and then fix the fact that I did add the white of the eye with the gel pen because I accidentally put too much of the orange. And then a catch light and fix that because I'm not happy with it. So I'm just gonna put more orange, yeah, there we go, to the pupil again, and then do a catch light. Yeah, that's better. Happier with that. Okay, so he's done. I will take a picture and I'll be right back. Okay, so I want him to be sitting on something that looks comfy because he looks like he's doing that